when he got the message. Well, the message was written in English for sure, but he sent that message to Beach Command Post. At Beach Command Post, there's usually about 5 or 6 code talkers as well, receiving and sending confidential, top secret messages. Well, the code talker covering this company that was pinned down sent the message. And this is what he said. By the way, this message was the actual message that was sent on Iwo. A copy of it is the Marine Corps Archives in Washington, D.C. This is what the code talker said. De pe ana achi bi dat is trahi de na sonse traji tochen. Think that sa tra astra na ki shash. I know you didn't understand what I said. But let's say that that message was broadcast to the Navajos on the reservation. What would the Navajos hear this code talker say in Navajo asking for help? This is exactly what the Navajos would have heard this code talker say, asking for help. Sheep, eyes, nose, deer, destroyer, tea, mouse, turkey, onion, sick horse, 3, 6, 2, bear. Navajos don't know what he's talking about. Just a bunch of Navajo words. Sheep, eyes, nose, deer, sick horse, what in the world is that? The code talker down at the Beach Command Post receiving this message, as each Navajo word comes through, he writes it down in English. What did he write down? Sheep, eyes, nose, deer, sick horse? No. He wrote down, send demolition team to Hill 362B. There's 3 hills on the north side. 362A, 362B, 362C. Beneath 362B was the problem. This Navajo message in code took 20 seconds. After 20 seconds, help was on the way. Tanks with flamethrowers and other heavy unit was sent out there to save that company of Marines. If that same message was sent in the English code, 30 minutes, the same message, 20 seconds in Navajo, 30 minutes in English. Why 30 minutes and just 20 seconds in Navajo? If you're going to send something in English code and you don't want the enemy to know, you scramble it first. How do you do that? Besides carrying our radio, we also have another unit called scrambling and descrambling machine. If you want to send something in English code, you want to scramble it. How do you do that? You take the message that's given to you to send. Take the first letter of that message, feed it into your scrambling machine. Press the button, take the next letter of that message, feed it into your scrambling machine, press the button, 1 letter at a time, all through the message. When you're finished, you press the big button, and out comes that message, scramble. Scramble messages came in groups of 5 letters, like KZTIO, another group of 5. That's the one you sent over the air. Scramble message. The English network guy writes it down, that message in scramble form. He turns off his radio, turn on his de-scrambling machine. Take the first letter of that scramble message, feed it into your descrambling machine, press a button, take the next letter, feed it into your descrambling machine, press a button, all day long, taking one letter at a time, until you finish with the scrambled message. You press the big button, and out comes that message unscrambled, hopefully exactly the way it was sent, because there's too many pressing buttons going on both sides. Sometimes you press the wrong button. 30 minutes doing that versus 20 seconds in Navajo. Those guys didn't have 30 minutes. That's why Navy and Marine really loved Navajo code, because it was fast, it was secure. They tell us it's the only military message, no, the only military code in modern history never broken. Navajo code saved hundreds of thousands of lives in the Pacific. Also helped win the war in the Pacific. The code was so good that when the war ended in 1945, we, the Navajo Code Talkers, were told, don't tell anyone what you did in war. If you're being asked, what did you do in the war by your parents, relatives, or anyone, just tell them you're a radio man, that's all, nothing more. You wait until the code is declassified before you tell anyone what you did. So, upon discharge from the United States Marine Corps in 1945 and 46, I came home. Sure enough, relatives, brothers and sisters say, hey, what did you do in the war? How many enemy did you kill? And all those crazy questions. All we could say was, I'm sorry, I was just a radio man. Don't ask me any more questions. We were told to keep saying that until the code was declassified. So we waited to hear that the Navajo Code was declassified, official military code. We waited and waited and waited. Finally, we just forgot about it. 1968, 23 years after the World War II ended, Navajo Code was declassified. And only after 1968, then we were allowed to tell people what we did, like I'm telling you now. Of course, at the beginning, it was pretty hard to remember because we just decided to forget all about it. All we did was being a radio man. But after the code was declassified 23 years later, why 23 years later? Because the code was so good. The only military code, like I said, in modern history, never broken by an enemy. They were saving the code in case there was another country that was breaking codes. They would resort back to Navajo code. But all the enemy we had, like Koreans, Vietnamese, and others, were not breaking codes. So Navajo code just remained top secret. Eventually, after 23 years, I guess, the government decided just leave it alone. That's sort of the history of Navajo code. Why it was needed, how it was conceived, how it was developed, how it was tested, and how it was organized to be used in every landing in the Pacific, from Guadalcanal to Okinawa and into North China. Over a dozen Navajo code talkers were killed in action. about 24 more wounded in action. Out of the 420 that were certified as Navajo Code Talkers, there's only 9 of us still alive today. The oldest one that's still alive today is 97 years old, Fleming Begay. He went in late 1942. He served on the Battle of Tarawa, survived that battle. His next battle was Saipan. He survived that battle. His third battle was Tinian. He got shot up real badly. So they have to fly his body back to stateside San Francisco Naval Hospital, where they put him back together. They must have done a super job because he's still alive at 97. The youngest of the 9 that's still alive is 90 years old. That's me. The youngest only because I joined when I was 15 years old. Yes, I lied about my age. It happened in sequences. I had a clan cousin. We lived right next to each other. His family had their own livestock. We have too. When our livestock settled down, start grazing real nicely, we would get together and play, race our donkeys, what have you, or practice shooting, 22 rifle. He went in early 1943. He was older than I was. After 2 landings, he was given a furlough to come home. And when he did come home, he was dressed in that beautiful Marine Corps blue uniform. I asked Tom, hey Tom, how do I get one of those uniforms? He said, join the Marines. I said, I want to do that. He looks at me and said, how old are you? I said, I'm 15. He said, you can't join Marines unless you're 17 years old. I said, well, they don't know. Well, Tom said, whatever you do, if you're going to join Marines, you've got to tell them you're 17 years old. So, before he went back, I went to the United States Marine Corps recruiting office in Farmington, New Mexico. I told the recruiter, I want to join the Marines. He looks at me and said, how old are you? I said, I'm 17 years old. Where's your birth certificate? I said, I don't have one. I was born out in the boondocks, not a hospital. There's no record. Well, somebody has to vouch for you, he said. I said, here, this is my clan cousin. He knows I'm 17 years old. So Tom signed a piece of paper. That's how I joined the United States Marine, went for a physical exam in Santa Fe, New Mexico. They told me I can't go because I have tuberculosis. They say, you better go see a doctor, go to the hospital. So, I feel okay. I wasn't hurting anywhere. So I thought, to heck with that. I'm not going to go to the hospital. I don't have any pain, nothing. So I just found a job. 6 months later, I got a letter from Uncle Sam saying, hey, have you been to the hospital? We want your physical exam again. Well, I never went to the hospital. So I tell myself, heck, why do they want me? I have tuberculosis, I can't go. 2 months later, I got a big nasty letter from Uncle Sam saying, if you don't show up for physical, we're going to come after you and put you in jail. So I showed it to my boss. He tells me, you better go. So I said, look, I already been there. I was rejected. I was supposed to have tuberculosis, and I never went to the hospital, so I still have it, I'm sure. Well, went back to Santa Fe. Went through physical. And they said, I passed. I said, wait a minute. I was sure over 6 months ago you told me I had tuberculosis, and you told me to go to the hospital. I never did. How could I be cured? Then they stopped. They put me up at a hotel right there in Santa Fe. Said, wait. A day and a half later, I was called back in, took some more physical exam. They say, you don't have tuberculosis. What's the problem? They told me that the first time, 8 months ago, my x-ray was mixed up with another guy. The guy that had tuberculosis was in Fort Bliss, Texas. And I got his x-ray. That's why they thought I had tuberculosis, but I didn't. So, at this point, they normally give someone 2 weeks to straighten things up at home before you go in. They wouldn't let me do it. They said, you have 8 months out there. So they put me on a train to San Diego, joined the Marines at age 15. So that's the story. But the sad story is, my twin cousin Tom, after the Battle of Guam, the next battle was Peleliu. Peleliu is a real bad island. September 15, 1944, 8:30 in the morning, 1st Marine Division landed on the beach of Peleliu. My cousin, Tom, was one of them. They always assign every landing about a dozen Navajo code talkers to land with the first wave, the first ones to hit the beach. Why? Because the command ship, the admirals and the generals want to know as soon as you hit the beach what the casualty rate is on the beach. You don't want the enemy to know how horrible it is. So, messages like that is sent back to the command ship in Navajo code. That's why they put about a dozen Navajo code talkers to land with the first wave, to start sending messages back in Navajo code regarding casualty rates on the beach. They also want to know where the enemy fires are coming from. They tell us, as soon as you hit the beach, run like hell, hit the deck, and find out where the enemy fire is coming from. They give us a map of the island with grid lines, with numbers on them. So they tell us, as soon as you hit the deck, run like hell, hit the deck, and find out where they are. The enemy fire is coming from. Look at your map. Send that information back to the command ship in Navajo code. Then they also assign someone, either a battleship, a cruiser, or a Marine air wing, to go and knock out that particular enemy gun position. You don't want to send that message in English code, because enemies breaking codes. So they know they are being targeted, so they move their gun position. By the time it is ordered to get that position knocked out, they're moved. They're not there anymore. That's why Navajo code is used to send messages like that back to the command ship. They also want to know what the ammunition situation is on the beach. They want that back in Navajo. Sometime. The ammunition ship's supposed to come about 3rd or 4th wave to dump the ammunition on the beach for us. But sometimes they get blown up, so you're sitting there on the beach with little or no ammunition. You don't want the enemy to know that either. So that kind of situation is sent back to the command ship in Navajo Cove. They then load up another ammunition ship to come in, dump more ammunition. All we land with is what we have in our rifle, maybe 4 or 5 hand grenades, and also what we have in our belt. That doesn't last very long. So, messages like that is important. That's why they assigned at least a dozen Navajo code talkers to land with the first wave. So on Peleliu, September 15, 1944, 8:30 in the morning, the sky was clear. Temperature on the beach at 8:30, 100 degrees. At high noon, the temperature climbed to 115 degrees. Well, the first wave hit the beach. Tom and another code talker, Jimmy King, they were working together. The radio that they were using was TBX. TBX is a huge radio. One guy carries the transmitter and receiver, it weighs about 30 pounds. The other guy carries the generator that weighs about 30 pounds too. You crank that generator to generate electricity to operate the receiver and transmitter. So 2 code talkers operate this one radio. So Tom, my cousin, and the other Navajo code talker, Jimmy King, were working together. When the first wave hit the beach, the gate opened up. All the Marines in the first wave ran out of the landing craft. Enemy machine gun opened up on all of them. Jimmy King and Tom took about 15 steps from the landing craft on the beach. Machine gun bullets went across Tom right through here. His head fell off. His body fell forward. Blood about 12 feet from Jimmy King. That's war. War is ugly. War is bad. Yet we continue to send our young kids to defend us, even to this day. These handsome, good-looking young men and women, we sent them overseas somewhere right now, this very hour, carrying weapons. Why? Why do we do that? Because we love this country. We don't want the ugliness of war to ever be seen and felt by our parents, relatives. That's why we do that. The 9 of us old Navajo code talkers, we get together now and then. Fleming Brigade, 97 years old, always say, are we in any war? If it is, I want to pick up my rifle and go defend this country again. As old as he is. That's patriotism. Why? Why would you want to do that? As I said, because we love this country.